Hello, my name is Luke Arm and welcome back to my essentially project in me trying to understand how to code. This first project, Eth-ter-I-Die, if you haven't seen any of the videos already, is essentially creating a website or application, I'm still not sure on the correct terminology, and essentially building a text file for people to be able to give or hide, probably more importantly, to hide this text file. And if they do die, people can retrieve, well, the beneficiaries can retrieve this text file and essentially learn how to take the Ethereum assets out of your Ethereum accounts, just so they're not lost to the ether. No pun intended. So yeah, the whole point is to make it really easy to understand, so essentially my mum could follow it, and yeah, so make it really easy to understand and really easy to use. So you just have to click a few buttons or applications to retrieve the how-to guide to get the instructions to remove the assets, and then you're good to go. Okay, in the background, what we have here is essentially me trying to get React-BootStrap working. It was a long few days. I actually originally had just trying to get React working and then appending Bootstrap to it, but let's just not talk about that. That was a weekend that we just lost. So instead, found React Bootstrap. There's a create React Bootstrap thing. I don't even know what to call it. This is how bad I am at coding. I am so sorry if anybody actually is a developer and watching this. There's a lot of bad things I'm doing and completely lack of understanding. But anyway, in the background you'll see me trying to get it to run. So I've done the React Bootstrap app, or create React Bootstrap app, and then all I'm trying to do is to get pretty much a hello world working. This just did not work for me. So yeah, like I do a lot in my crypto zombie videos, I'm using the power of copy and paste, and the guide actually on Pluralsight was pretty useful. It helped me get a bit more understanding of how it all works really, especially these first steps of doing npm start, what npm is and things like that. But alas, that was a failure. So now I had some success because I had the npm start working. So I tried that up to experience and tried again with the code sandbox that's available on the React Bootstrap website. So these are just the standard kind of example codes, templates, I'd say, for people just getting started with React Bootstrap. So again, I did what I do best and copy and paste, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, this is a new format I'm trying. I understand that watching me type loads and lines of code isn't the most interesting thing in the world. I want to create more of a story with it, so I'm just playing around with a few ideas, a few kind of concepts really to make these a little bit more entertaining, have a bit more flow and a bit more story attached to it, because yeah, I wanted them to be as engaging as possible for the viewer. So bear with me, I'm still not very good at YouTube, still not very good at video editing, and well, yeah, you can see I'm still very much not good at developing code in general. But hey, we're here to learn, and you're going through this painful journey as well. But that just, yeah, thank you for watching as well. I've had a few comments that are actually really helpful. But here we have it. We have some success. I think I even put mild success in the banner, in fact, and the next card. And would you look at that? Mild success. I managed to get a Bootstrap, a React Bootstrap working, and now we're actually going on to the real development that I did semi-live. as you saw, that seemed semi-simple in getting the app running, or getting React and Bootstrap running. The issue was trying to get it translated. I have no idea what I'm doing with this React Bootstrap. It's a whole new concept. This UI, this way of thinking about for the Bootstrap section, is about all the different rows and columns. And for the React section, what I'm going to show you now, it took a long time to put together. This is the current look of Eth-ter-I-Die, utilizing just the HTML and JavaScript, so not using React and Bootstrap. So, if we just... I need to stop this. This is the end product. Ignore pretty much most of it because I do need to do some tinkering to make it look nice. The whole point of this episode was to get the same functionality. Let's just get the functionality out of the way. Does it work? MetaMask, submit, Eth-ter-I-Die, download something, and then brings in the MetaMask information. So you can see the visualization, it's a little bit better. There are ways of getting just checkboxes in React app, in the React Bootstrap kind of functionality. However, I wanted these buttons made it look nicer, and you can see them when they're clicked and not clicked, and also you can kind of disable them. So I don't have Uniswap or OpenSea working, but you kind of visually see that that's not, it's kind of been disabled. So looks-wise, it does look a little bit better in my eyes. Okay, so we've seen the output of the two different solutions. What we have in the React Bootstrap is vastly different. I wanted to keep the concept of just having or adding in as little code as possible per app that gets added. So keep that in mind during this process. So if we start off, so it all gives app.js is where things start. So there's a few things here. So this was just on every single user guide that I was trying to find. Importing React, so I don't know really what that does, but it makes it work, so I can't really stop it. So here in this section, I'm essentially importing all the Bootstrap components that I'm using. You have to do that for every single one. In this section here, I'm bringing in a library called Save As. Now this is fantastic. I will just show it to you now. This website here, rcodeworld.com, has a brilliant example of how to create a file and generate it with JavaScript in browser without a server. Great. Because using React Bootstrap, I'm not using any HTML elements, I wanted to make sure that my old code wasn't going to let me down. So I just took a look at this, and this seemed very similar to what I had previously. However, I did this thing called scrolling, well, first of all, I did this thing called reading, and I scrolled down further to find that there's this file saver.js file. But yeah, so I've implemented this library into my code, and I'll show you that now. So first off with React, I need to import the library. So import save as from file saver being the library. And then in my core.js file, look how few lines of code that is. And that essentially allows me to download, have the same functionality of downloading the text files. Let's jump a little bit further down into the code. I kind of like the idea of the Nav Bar, so that's what I implemented. As we can see here, this Nav Bar here will add a logo, but I'm having dramas with my logo. You've already seen the logo. It's on the thumbnail, but I just can't. I'll make a whole episode about the issues I'm having with logo design. But let's talk about the converting of the functionality. So here is the toggle button group. So in my previous code, these were the standard HTML checkboxes. But I kind of wanted the buttons. I saw that in React you have, go to the components. Buttons look fantastic. So look at them, like they just look so clickable. And that's what I wanted to make it look like a little bit better. So this is actually the one I went with in the end. But I wanted to use buttons because I saw as I scrolled down that you can actually make buttons checkboxes. So this is a toggle button example. So checked, unchecked, and then you can play around with it. So my idea was if I could use them as checkboxes, then I could change the functionality of this to be actually pretty, well, as pretty as it's going to be, to allow me just to click in and make it look nicer rather than having checkboxes, because I don't think checkboxes are that pretty because you've got the elements you want to click and then the text, and it just doesn't seem to be that intuitive potentially. So first off, I found that you can't just have a toggle button, you have to make a toggle button group, and then within that group, so this is actually redundant because this is part of me just playing around. But yeah, I don't actually need this because it's already declared in the above one. However, I can't get a toggle button working without toggle button groups on top, which caused major issues. It just means that every single application I'm adding, I have to copy the whole group. So I'm going to have many groups in my application. But it does mean the functionality is the same. So do you have the variant? That's essentially the clients declaring what the button looks like. We have OnChange get selected values. This took me so long to work out. And by so long to work out, it took me a long time to find the right things to Google in order to get what I wanted. Initially, it was as simple as I didn't have a capital C on the OnChange. Previously, in the index HTML, calling the function I had to have in these kind of half quotation mark things and actually bring in the function with the brackets in. That's what I need to do in order to get the function to work. In React-BootStrap, it's different. All I need to do is kind of declare this, do this for a function. And that was a lot of hours of troubleshooting, and it was a very simple solution. I didn't have to change any code, which I thought I would have to. Okay, it was the download button that caused me quite a lot of stress and anxiety. Essentially, it all revolves around this section here. So previously we saw that the OnChange, all I had to do was bring in this function. However, what I was having was every single time my page loaded, I had download fs being called. So every single time my page loaded, nothing would be selected, but I'll get a download each time. The issue was I had it as onClick, so put it on onClick and then allow it. But this section of code here, so I believe this is event handling. So this is only on an event. Do you actually do something? Again, I just copied some code for this. Really useful guide on the event handling here, which essentially I copy this bit. So this is on the react.js.org, and they told me how to do it, which is very helpful for them. I'm starting to understand why we wanted to have the separate code from my previous documentation. So from Eth-ter-I-Die on HTML, I split the code. Just the last thing I did, just as it was, I was told it was kind of the done thing to do, was to split the code between my core.js, all my kind of JavaScript information here, and then my HTML file here. It took a bit of research to get things working and understanding, but I really did not want to have this code in this core.js file in the app.js file. It kind of felt a bit too clunky. I wanted to have the core functionality on a different page, so I could tinker with that without affecting essentially the way the app was looking. This is where, first off, Stack Overflow, oh my word, what a fantastic website. That led me to this bit of code here. So this is bringing in importing and exporting functions. So all I needed to do in essentially my library, so my library would be, rather than lib.js, this is core.js. All I need to do is export functions, or put export before the things that I wanted to have into a different file. And all required in the main file, my app.js file, was to import those files from lib, or in my case from core. So as you can see, I've done nothing different apart from the download file being significantly better using libraries, but I've done nothing different apart from adding export onto them. It means on the app.js front, all I need to do is import all the different functions I'm using, and yes, that's what I want to do. So yes, in mere minutes I have shown you what I've done when it took me many multiple hours. This is the application, how it currently looks, and that it currently works, more importantly. I will probably lie to you and say all I need to do now is add content, but you know that's not the truth. There's a few more features I want to add in before I do jump into the contents and the prettifying of it, but that is going to be it for now. Thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe or leave a comment either on YouTube, Twitter or GitHub, and I will make sure to improve whatever you mention accordingly. Anyway, hope you have a great day, and catch you next time.